Hey, what's up? This is Preston Howard with Salt Lake City Guitar, and in this video we're going to finally fix the dreaded F chord. Now, it's not as hard as you may think. There's just a lot of ways to mess it up, and in this video we're going to solve it all. So when it comes to learning the F chord, there are three main things we need to discuss. The first one is extremely simple, yet if we don't have this one done, it never comes together. And all it is you gotta have the chord memorized. That's right. It doesn't matter if your chord is not sounding out correctly, if you have to always go and read your chord diagram or read your chord sheet. Number one thing is you gotta commit it to memory. So with working with students for years and years, people that struggle is they don't get the thing memorized, whether it's a piece of music or their chord. Their brain, their mind's always distracted by trying to remember what they're supposed to do versus they know what they're supposed to do, and then we can fix it. So, easy thing, but for some of you, this is going to be like, oh, I need to get it memorized. So I didn't want to skip that part. Other people watching this, perhaps you already got it memorized. It's just sloppy. We got to fix that. Okay, cool. We're going to do that right now. Okay, so we got it memorized. The next thing is the technical side. So this is going to be so groundbreaking, it's going to like change everything. Are you ready? All right, so your fret hand, go ahead and put it out in front of you. Mine is my left. And do this. Boom. Yep. That's how the hand works. It's groundbreaking, right? Now, you may be like, dude, what are you talking about? Well, the problem is, this is how the hand works. Yeah, every human hand's the same, right? What happens when people go to play the guitar is they do this, or they do, or they do this thing with their shoulder, and they're going, like, oh, my hands don't work. My fingers are too small, when it's not the case at all. That rhymed. So now I'm going to demonstrate this on the guitar, and there's different variations of the F chord. There's different variations for all chords, right? But I'm going to show you the easiest one, and that actually plays right into the third concept. They're intertwined, and I'll show you here on a chord diagram. Now, I'm just going to write this up just to get it out there. So the first thing is the chord is not memorized. You got to get it memorized. The second is the technical side. I'll just put technique, and specifically it's your thumb placement. And I'm going to show you what to do here in just a moment. And the third is skipping steps. What I mean by skipping steps? Well, what happens is, let's say someone can't really hit the most basic F chord, so then what do? They, of course, try to do the bar chord F chord, which happens to be the hardest bar chord to do in the first place. So those are all three of them, and I'm going to walk you through the process of fixing all this stuff. So we already discussed, memorize it, just memorize the thing. Don't read your chord diagram and commit it to memory. All right? But the first F that I want you to get down goes like this. Here's a chord diagram. This, of course, is the 6th string right here. I have to color coordinate my stuff here. So 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 1 is the small one, right? So there it is. Those numbers represent your fingers. 1, 2, 3. So put your first finger on 1st string, 1st fret. Line everything up. And don't play those strings. Now, while you're watching this video, I'm well aware that some people can maybe do this one or others are on to the next one. I'm going to cover the 3 first ones we got to get down. But again, I'm not going to skip anything, so you watch all the way through this. Yeah, so here we go. Those numbers represent your fingers, and I'm going to demonstrate right here. This F chord. Okay, so here we are, and it's going to go just like this. So, first finger on the 2nd string, 1st fret, bada bing. Second finger, this one, is on the 2nd fret of the 3rd string, and then this guy is on the 4th string, 3rd fret. Now, I'm well aware that you've seen other variations of the F chord. I'll discuss that here in a second. But this is number one. Get this one down. So to get this first F chord down, I want all 3 fingers to go at the same time. All right? That's what needs to happen. But the most important thing is, well, it's all important, your thumb placement. If it's over here, I'll give you if it's doing this, look. Fingers don't work. Fingers don't stretch. Very common. People play the guitar and their thumb is going this way. Yep. I play guitar for a while now and my fingers aren't working. Right? Or their thumb is way over top. Yep. Try and just do this motion. Fingers aren't working. Fingers aren't working. Or they curl the thumb. I'm going to break my thumb here. Oh my gosh, that hurts my forearm right here by doing this one. Can you see that, how I'm curling that? All right, this isn't a beginner thing. I play guitar for, what, almost 20 years now? By doing this, this puts all sorts of tension in my wrist. This is not good. This is not how it works. So, right? So if you need to do that, very simple. Right? Thumb placement is number 1. Okay, just kidding. It's number 2 because number 1 was getting it memorized. All right, got that. Now, if you can just do this F chord, that works for any of the F chords, right? But there's another variation that people learn, and I'll put it up here. It goes like this. If you cannot do the first one I just gave you with one motion, then don't do this one. No, you're not speeding up the process. You're going backwards, and it's going to take longer, right? This goes against this one. No skipping steps. What will happen with this one is you could also use your first finger there and do a little baby bar chord. Now, again, extremely important that your first finger or your thumb is right behind your second finger. Like this. Do you see how that's now actually... So here's how it's working. This is a clamp. I'm going to take my fingers off. Boom. I am squeezing like this really hard. This is a clamp. This guy, do you see how he's curled? What happens is people try to first off their thumb's all screwed up, and then they try to pull it in and it just doesn't stay. What's happening is this is clamped and this guy is literally pressing this way, not pulling in. So, can you see this here? Let me be on the side. The side of my finger, notice the pad does not have the markings. See this? That's not where the pressure's going. Is my finger that bent? What a weird finger. Okay. Very cool. Got that? So, pressure of the, right here, the clamp, and then this guy's going that way. Those foul cabinets, bam, pushing that way, you're going down. So if you can get that, the F chord's going to be just fine. Now, the next thing that people run into, this is the F bar chord, and I'll write it up here because if you're struggling with the F bar chord, you probably already know it, and you're not going to like what I have to say, but I'm going to tell you the truth. Here it goes. 9 times out of 10 when I have someone who's struggling with the F chord, the F bar chord, they can't do these ones with one motion. So what happens is we go against that rule of skipping steps. No skipping steps. But if you can do those ones, then here's what you're going to do next to prepare you for the bar chord. Just do a power chord. F power chord. The hardest power chord, the hardest bar chord to learn is what people try to do first. They try to learn the hardest one first. It's the F. Don't do that one. I'll have another training on your bar chords. This wasn't what I wanted to go over with you today. That's why the title of the video wasn't your F bar chord. But I need you to understand that the F chord is all of these, and I'll explain why. I'll give you some theory here in a second. But what happens is people skip steps. They try to do a hard version of the chord before they can do the easier one with one motion. Their technique is off, which means they're not going to be able to do any of them. Or it's just not memorized. Okay, so lastly, I'm going to go over this. Sometimes people ask, well, which one's the right one? And they're all the right one. Without getting into too much theory, to make an F chord, we need notes F, A, and C. Forget where that comes from. We can do it in another video. But this is actually an F note. That's an A note, and that's a C note. Over here, F, A, C, F. We just added another note in. That way it gives a little high end on top, right? That's all that's going on. So they're both right. Think of it like a color. They're both the same color, one just a little bit different tint to it, right? Sweet. So what we went over is how to finally learn your F chord. Get that down. We learned that one, you got to get it memorized first. If you always have to go back and look at your diagrams, it's never going to be committed to memory, which means you can never then focus on other parts of getting it down, such as making sure the thumb's in the right place. You're too distracted by doing other stuff. So get it memorized, then get that down. When you play the F chord and most other chords, you're going to do this motion where the pressure's here, like in, well, both of them. Yeah, and then the other level 2 F chord, this finger, instead of just playing the note, is going to go sideways so that it can actually play 2 strings. A little baby bar chord. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure to like and subscribe, as well as if you have any questions, put them in the comments below. I'll do my best to respond to them and or make a video if I need to make another video on something that wasn't clear. All right, we'll see you in your next training.